The story begins far away in Japan at a quiet old temple. A small puppy was being prepared to be sent to America, where a new owner awaited. But fate had other plans. When the wooden crate carrying the little dog arrived at the airport, its address label was accidentally torn off. The courier didn't notice and continued his routine, taking the shipment back to the delivery office as usual. Somewhere along the way, near a small train station, the crate fell. The puppy tumbled out, frightened and lost. He wandered aimlessly through the crowd, searching for something that felt like home. That's when destiny intervened. A kind man named Parker found the little dog. Parker, a gentle-hearted music professor, had always carried a quiet love for animals. Seeing the lost puppy shivering near the platform, he picked it up and brought it to the station master Carl, hoping someone would help. But Carl refused. He didn't want the trouble. He even said he would send the dog to a shelter the next morning. Hearing that, Parker couldn't bear it and made a choice that would change his life forever. He gently lifted the puppy and took him home, telling himself it would only be for a few days, just until someone came looking. When Parker arrived home, he tried to be quiet. His wife Kate never liked pets, so he quickly hid the little dog in his study before greeting her. Later that night, as they talked, Kate heard strange sounds coming from downstairs. Moments later, the curious puppy wandered into their bedroom and licked her feet. Startled, she screamed in surprise. Parker finally confessed that he had found the puppy lost at the station and couldn't abandon it. Kate was upset at first, but after seeing his sincerity, she sighed and let it go. That night, Parker gently moved the puppy to the shed outside. Just for a while, he thought. The next morning, the little dog met another member of Parker's family, his daughter, Andy. Unlike Kate, Andy immediately adored the puppy. She held him in her arms and begged her father to keep him. But Kate still refused, insisting they put up flyers to find the real owner. A few days later, before heading to work, Parker decided to bring the puppy to the local animal shelter. But the staff there told him the shelter was full and couldn't take any more animals. Not knowing what else to do, Parker visited his friend, the owner of a small bookstore, hoping he might take the puppy. At first, his friend agreed, but the cat hissed, raised its paw, and smacked the curious little dog right on the nose. Running out of time, Parker finally took the puppy with him to this train station. He asked Carl if anyone had come looking for a missing dog, but no one had. With no other choice, Parker decided to bring the puppy along to work. When Parker arrived at work, he began teaching his usual music class, but the little dog, full of curiosity, couldn't sit still. While Parker played on stage, the puppy wandered up beside him, tilting his head, chasing after the students' movements.
You want a puppy?
After class, Parker spoke with his close friend, Ken. Ken looked at the dog's collar and read the engraved symbol. It was the word Hachi, meaning 8 in Japanese, a number that symbolizes good fortune. Ken also explained that this puppy was an Akita, a rare and noble breed known for its deep loyalty to its owners. That evening, Parker told Kate about what he had learned and suggested they keep Hachi. But before they could finish their talk, the mischievous puppy accidentally made a mess in Kate's workspace, ruining her project. Already annoyed by the idea of keeping a pet, Kate grew furious. Parker had no choice but to move Hachi back to the shed outside. When Parker realized how bad the storm was, he couldn't ignore it. He went outside and gently carried Hachi inside. Later, as Parker searched online for information about Akitas, he learned that they were known for one thing above all: unwavering loyalty. Moved by this, he smiled softly at Hachi, who had already curled up beside him.
All right, stay there. Stay there now. Oh, there, just a little bit.
That night, Parker fell asleep on the couch with Hachi at his feet. When Kate woke up and came downstairs, she saw them sleeping together. Seeing that tender sight, her anger slowly faded. The next morning, Parker tried to teach Hachi how to play fetch, but the little dog, still young and clueless, just stared at the ball. Laughing, Parker ended up fetching the ball himself, even holding it in his mouth to show how it's done. From the kitchen, Kate and Andy watched them through the window. Parker's laughter echoed through the yard, and for the first time, she could see how much joy the little dog had brought into their home. A few moments later, the phone rang. Kate picked it up. It was someone responding to the flyers, offering to adopt Hachi. But as she turned to look outside again, she saw Parker and Andy smiling, playing together with Hachi under the morning sun. She gently hung up the phone. The decision was made. Hachi was no longer just a lost dog. He was part of their family now. Time passed, and Hachi grew bigger, but his heart remained the same. He was still playful, still gentle, and still completely devoted to Parker. Even when Parker told him to stay home, Hachi would dig under the fence and follow his scent all the way to the train station. Smiling but slightly worried, Parker walked back and gently told him to go home. Hachi tilted his head, pretending to obey, but as soon as Parker turned around, the clever dog quietly followed again. Parker couldn't help but laugh. He finally gave up, deciding to skip work that day and walk back home with Hachi by his side. Kate offered to watch over Hachi while Parker returned to the station. At first, Hachi stayed quietly in the yard, but as the hours passed, the house felt emptier without Parker. Unable to resist, Hachi ran all the way back to the station. It was nearly 5 o'clock, the time Parker usually returned from work. Hachi sat patiently at the station's exit, his eyes fixed on the crowd. Then, as the train arrived, Parker appeared. He barked once and sprinted towards Parker, leaping in joy. From that day on, Hachi began waiting for Parker at the station every single afternoon, no matter the weather, no matter how long it took. Hachi even became part of the family's happiest moments. When Parker's daughter got married, Hachi was there, sitting proudly among them. But one evening, something unusual happened. When Parker stepped off the train, Hachi wasn't there. Parker searched everywhere until he finally heard scratching from the backyard shed. When he opened the door, he found Hachi trapped inside, pacing nervously. At the entrance stood a skunk, blocking the way out. Parker worried they'd both get drenched in the awful smell. Carefully, he grabbed a piece of cardboard and tried to shoo it away. But before he could move fast enough, the skunk turned and sprayed them both and dashed off into the night.
You really think we smell her bad?
One day, Andy came home to visit her parents and share wonderful news. She was expecting a baby. The moment she told them, Kate and Parker were overjoyed. And in that excitement, Parker momentarily forgot about Hachi. From a distance, Hachi watched, his tail still, but his eyes full of curiosity and perhaps a little jealousy. That night, as Parker and Kate joked and laughed upstairs, Hachi heard strange noises coming from their room. Thinking it was another dog, he perked up, confused and a little hurt. But in truth, Parker was only playfully mimicking a dog's bark, teasing Kate as they laughed together. The next morning, Hachi sulked. When Parker got ready for work, Hachi stayed in the yard, refusing to follow. Maybe he thought Parker would understand, that his feelings were hurt, but Parker, running late, only smiled and said goodbye before leaving. A while later, something unexpected happened. As Parker arrived at the station, he saw Hachi there, running toward him carrying a ball in his mouth. Parker froze for a moment. Hachi never liked playing fetch, but here he was, offering the ball as if to say, "Please, don't go, play with me instead." Touched, Parker knelt down, smiling. He gently petted Hachi's head, but duty called. The train was already waiting. As Parker boarded, Hachi barked softly, almost as if trying to stop him. Parker turned one last time, smiling warmly. "I'll see you soon," he said. At the university, Parker went about his day as usual, teaching his students with warmth and patience. But as the lesson came to an end, Parker suddenly grew weak, and before anyone could react, he collapsed to the floor. Parker passed away that day, taken by a sudden heart attack. Back at the station, unaware of what had happened, Hachi waited faithfully in his usual spot. As the clock struck 5, the station doors opened, but this time, Parker didn't appear. Hours passed. It was nearly 10 o'clock when Andy's husband arrived, gently calling for Hachi to come home. The loyal dog didn't move at first. Then, from the distance, through the cold night air, he heard the faint sound of Kate's sobs echoing from the house. But Hachi didn't understand. He only tilted his head, confused by the sadness in their voices, still waiting for the one person who could make sense of it all. The next morning, Kate came to see him. Her eyes were red and tired, her voice trembling as she knelt down beside Hachi. Through her tears, she tried to explain that Parker was gone, that he would never come home again. But Hachi didn't understand words. All he understood was love, and that love told him to wait. So he stayed. After Parker's passing, the family gathered for his funeral. It was a day filled with grief. Yet another corner of town, Hachi continued his routine, waiting faithfully at the station just as he did every day. He still believed Parker would return, that any moment now his friend would step off the train and reach out to embrace him. That evening, as the last trains departed and the lights of the station dimmed, Carl approached Hachi. Kneeling beside him, he gently stroked his fur and said with a heavy heart, "You don't have to wait anymore." But Hachi stayed. The world moved on. He did not. The next day, Kate walked around their house. She was preparing to move to a new home, and Hachi was to be taken in by Andy and her husband. Rain fell softly that morning as Hachi was brought to Andy's home. At his new home, he grew quiet and still. Days passed, but Hachi didn't play or eat much. His thoughts seemed always somewhere else, at the station, with Parker. One afternoon, when Michael accidentally left the front door open, Hachi seized the chance. He ran, faster than he had in years, through the streets, across the fields, following the sound of trains in the distance. He finally reached the old house, only to find strangers living there now. Parker was gone. Kate was gone. Everything was different. Lost and confused, Hachi wandered to the station. There, he sat down in his old spot, the same place he once waited every evening, and looked toward the tracks. Familiar faces noticed him. The coffee vendor, the station workers, the passers-by. Not long after, Andy and Michael arrived, having searched everywhere. They gently brought Hachi back home, realizing that he had run away just to find Parker. Days turned into months, and still, Hachi longed for his master. Each time he heard a train whistle, his ears perked up, his heart hopeful, just for a second, before fading into quiet again. Finally, Andy understood. With tears in her eyes, she opened the gate and whispered, "Go on, find him." Hachi turned to look at her one last time. In his eyes, there was gratitude, a silent thank you for the kindness she had shown. Then he walked away, steady and sure, following the path that led back to the station. From that day on, Hachi's life became one of quiet waiting. Every morning, he walked to the station and sat near the exit, watching each train arrive and depart. When the last train left and the lights dimmed, he would curl up under an old, unused carriage to sleep, only to rise again the next morning, and do all over again. As the years passed, Hachi's story began to spread. One afternoon, a reporter came to interview Carl, the station master, about the loyal Akita who never stopped waiting. From that moment, Hachi became known throughout the town. Old friends of Parker also came to visit. He offered money to help care for Hachi in case he ever got sick, but Jazreed, the coffee vendor, smiled and said, "Everyone here helps him. We all look after Hachi." Ken knelt beside the old dog, stroking his fur gently. "I miss him too," he whispered, remembering his dear friend Parker. Seasons continued to pass. Spring, summer, autumn, winter, over and over again. 10 years went by. One gray afternoon, Kate visited Parker's grave, laying flowers by the stone. By coincidence, Ken was there too. They shared a quiet moment, two people connected by the same grief. And even after all those years, Hachi could be found at the station, sitting in the same place, watching every train that came and went. His fur had grown thin, his movements slower, but his eyes were still filled with devotion. As Kate returned from the cemetery, she saw him, her late husband's faithful companion, sitting there, trembling in the cold. Overcome with emotion, she knelt beside him, tears streaming down her face as she held him close. The people around them watched silently.
Thanks.
That night, back at Andy's home, Kate told her grandson the story of how Parker first met Hachi, how a simple encounter at a train station turned into a bond that lasted a lifetime. Meanwhile, under the night sky, Hachi stirred. Hearing the distant whistle of an approaching train, he rose once more. His legs were weak, his breathing slow, but his eyes were still filled with the same quiet hope they always had. He walked back to the station one last time. Snow fell gently as he reached his spot and lay down, facing the gate where he had once greeted Parker every evening. And as the final train passed, Hachi closed his eyes. In his heart, he saw Parker again, smiling, walking toward him, arms open. After 10 years of waiting, Hachi was finally home.